Boom. We're on. Welcome to the stream where we're going to make a website for plumbers. Let's mute my voice because I don't want to hear that. So, I'm not really anywhere with this at the minute. It's a brand new project. We're going to make a one-page website for a plumbing firm in Yorkshire. And we're going to try and kind of follow the ethos of a landing page. Whereas you've got everything on one page, you don't need people to click in loads of different pages to get the information that they need. We just want to show them exactly what they need to see, and we want them to click on contact us, or we want them to click on a phone number or something else. So we're going to work through the process of building this website. First we're going to work on the design, and then we'll move to the actual build of the website, and we can discuss different technologies that we could use to build this website. So we're going to do a bespoke design for this, and for anything that needs a design, I use a piece of software called Figma, which is totally free to use, and it's really powerful. So I think I did start preparing something, but am I going to be able to find it? That's the real question. So looking drafts. Maybe date created. Here we are. So this is next to nothing at the minute, really. It is a bunch of boxes on a screen, but this is how I like to start web design projects. So we have, you can't even see my screen. That's amazing. Let's change that. Maybe it needs to be display 2. Whee! There we go. Awesome. That's the right one. And then I think we need to do that. Cool. I think hopefully that works. Let's just check that the sound's still on. Yeah, great. Right, let's continue. For some reason I have a mouse stuck on my screen, but we're gonna crack on anyway. So what we've got here is like a wireframe, essentially. Hello, Ryan. What we've got here is like a wireframe, and this is how I want the website to look. So I know I want some sort of top bar with some information on here. Then this box underneath is going to be a logo. Then this is going to be the navigation menu. This is going to be the headline, some text underneath it, and some sort of button or a call to action for the action that we want the visitor to take. And this is kind of the same, but with a slightly different layout. So we can play around with these and kind of find what seems to suit best. So I'm going to start off now by basically filling these boxes in, filling the blanks in, without any sort of real, I haven't really got any real design or anything yet. So I haven't really thought about it that much, I haven't really got any text together. I've written a few headlines, but nothing too much. So we'll start with some basic stuff and we'll talk through it and see kind of where that gets us. So I know that in this top bar I want to have some text. So I'm going to start off by starting a new text object. I can't see the right hand side of my screen, which is super useful. So we're going to use the default text or whatever is there, which is Roboto, I think. And I'm going to have something like for maybe in the event of an emergency, call us on. So that's very small. Let's zoom in a bit. And then we'll make up a random number So I'm based in Doncaster, so we'll just do 01302 456 789. Let's change that so it's a bit nicer. Or we can do something like this. Emergency repair hotline. So we've got a couple of options there, what we can have in this top box. I need to see this side of my screen. Let's see if I can move you over slightly. There we go. So let's bump this up. It's currently 12, which is really, really small. So for some text like this, really, I want no smaller than 15 or 16. So I'm going to go the bigger one. And let's pop you up there and pop you up there. I can have you as a backup. Okay, and then all I'm going to do is just pop you there. And clicking that button up here just centers that text. So, perfect. What I want to do here now is drop in a logo, which I don't obviously have. So we're going to move on and do the navigation menu next. So I'm going to press T on my keyboard, and I'm just going to click where I want this text to be put in. And it's just going to use the same text style as above because that's the last one that we used. So I can start adding in some menu items here. So think about Plumbers and the services that they usually offer. It will be, and I won't think about these in any sort of order, it's just getting them out of my brain and onto paper really. So pipe work, that might be one. Servicing. We might have another, which is obviously repairs. Pipework, servicing, repairs, boilers. And I would have thought a lot of plumbers are gas registered and stuff like that. Does that come under pipework? Maybe. So at this point, I would look around some other plumbing websites to get some ideas of what sort of content they have on there and what's relevant to this website. But for now, we'll just stick with that. And then obviously the main thing is we want someone to get in touch with us. So let's have a contact us also. So we've got some items here for our navigation menu, which will change at some point. I don't actually need that, so I'm just going to get rid of that for now. In fact, let's just undo and let's pop one of these in first. So we'll have contact us right at the end. And then these ones here, we're just going to drag them in. Just in line, you can see we get all these really helpful lines just that pop on the screen and let us see if we're placing things in the right place. And it doesn't really matter where we want, kind of, if these are the same gap between them, because we're going to fix that next. So all I have to do is make sure they're all in a line, and then we are going to let the computer fix them. So we're going to select them all, and then we're going to click one of these buttons up here which says distribute horizontal spacing, and then magically it's done. So you can see we've got these red lines on as well. These are guidelines. I'm not in the office by myself today, so these are guidelines. We could turn them on and off as well to get some idea of how the website's looking. But it's handy to leave them on for now, and then we've got something to, like we've got this here, and And that can guide up. And this is set up to be a 1200 wide container. So the actual space of this is about the width of a laptop, and then slightly some margin on both sides, and then we've got a container in the middle. So we do need some sort of logo, which we don't have at the minute. I have got some like dummy logos, so I'm just going to jump in another project and I'm going to grab one out and we'll pop that in there. Wait for it to load up. Here we are. So I've got this one here. So I'm just going to probably zoom in and make sure I'm selecting the right thing. Yeah. So grab this, copy that, and then just paste it into this document. You can see we've got a white logo there, and I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to pop that on the right hand side, sorry, on the left hand side, so it's up against the edge of the design. And then this is kind of what we've got so far. So if I just colour that a different colour for now, just colour it black, and if we just zoom out a little bit, that's what we've got so far. And then we can start filling in some of these blanks. So I've started on this left aligned template. I don't know why, I just fancied it. So we can start filling in some blanks here. I did write some headlines when I was doing a test stream on Friday. So let's fill this blank in. So expert plumbing services in South Yorkshire is what it says on the tin. It's not the most dynamic of headlines. That's for sure. But for now, as we're creating design, it's real, and it's something that you could imagine on a website. It'd be nice to come up with something a bit better, but that for now will kind of serve us perfectly while we're working on this design. So at this point, I want to bump the text up to something a lot bigger. So maybe we'll start at 72 and see where that gets us. So this is probably a little bit too big, but we'll see. So I'm going to try and follow this box. So I'm going to try and stick to the grid as much as possible for this design, just to make it nice and simple. And you can see when we zoom out, it doesn't quite sit right. So I'm going to just delete this box behind it for now, and then I'm just going to make it a bit smaller, just like that. Perfect. And then I'm going to make it a lot bolder. So I'm going to, if we've got regular, then I'm going to try black to start with, which I don't really like. So let's bump it down to bold. That's a bit nicer, I think. And then it'd be quite nice if we could kind of get it to about there. But we'll see. Great. So that's coming together quite nicely. So I'm just going to make up some text for this. And I'm just going to say X, in fact we'll just put here for your something really cheesy, like piece of, that's not easy, peace of mind, PAC, peace of mind and all plumbing repairs. Zoom out a bit and just make this. So we need to make this smaller. So let's just start with 20 and see where that gets us. Zoom in again. Here for your peace of mind and all you plumbing repairs. All your plumbing repairs. I can maybe add something on there. Servicing and something else. Maybe we could just put pipe work, something like that. And again, for this first kind of run, it doesn't have to be perfect. Content doesn't have to be perfect. We're just trying to get a feel for what we actually want to create. Definitely don't want that bold. I want to probably bump that back down to regular. So we've got something like this. And then maybe I just want to make that kind of contain to a slightly smaller box so that only spans 5 columns. Like that. And then we need some sort of call to action. And this can just be something simple like get in touch or call us now. So I'd want this to be a button, so I'm going to save the rectangle this time, and I'm going to add in some text. So call us now. For most people are going to want a quote, aren't they? Call us now for a quote. Awesome, so this text is a bit too big, so I'm going to try and bump that down to 16 again. And I'm going to make it bold. But the button's too big, so I'm kind of get a feel for what I want the button to be. Something like that, I think, is nice. So I'm going to make it a bit bigger. And these buttons don't really have to conform to the grid either. So I'm going to select the button, and I'm going to hold down Shift and click on the text as well to select the text, and then I'm just going to center the text, and I'm going to center the text vertically as well, and that means it's directly in the middle. Then here we can start to do some stuff with letter spacing and stuff like that, but I'm not actually going to keep this font, so we're going to change the font. So we'll just keep with that for now. So that is kind of our beginning elements starting to come in there, and the next thing that I'd really look for is some images and colours and stuff like that. Now we know we've got something that might be quite kind of on the money. I'm going to group these together because I like the space in between them. I'm just going to move them down the page a little bit. So that's very simple so far. Try not to get too in depth. I'm just adding a bit of line height to this text to make it a bit easier to read. So it's coming up to about 150, so we'll just type that in. Just pop that there. Yeah, that's good. So in Figma we can actually look for some images inside Figma. It's sometimes a little bit finicky though. So there is some websites that you can check out. One of them is called pexels.com, where you can download totally free stock images. Most people know about these, but if you don't, it's useful to know. So I'm going to type in plumbing. I've put plumbing for some reason. Yeah, so this is all like quite commercial, industrial sort of stuff. So I wouldn't really want to use any images like this. I generally probably want to use something that looks like something to do with heating. So just just in the interest of picking an image quickly, just going to go with heating, and we'll see if we can in the next 4 minutes or so pull a little bit of a style together for the start of this website. Let's grab this kitchen. It's nice and stylish. So we will download this. We'll take it in this large format. It's not, yeah, that should be fine. Yeah, that's good. And then I'm just going to take this, I'm going to just grab it into, pull it into this document, and you can see there, we've got it, and we can see the size here. So it means it's 1920 in width, just like a HD TV, and 1280 in height. So already we can see it's bigger than our, we call this hero section on our website. It's already bigger, so that's good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put it right to the back so everything else is on top. And then I'm just going to pull it over like this. And this is not kind of perfectly what I've got in mind, but it's going to give us something to work with for now. Great. So it looks like we've kind of messed it up. But that's fine. So I know that black text is probably not going to work here, so we can start to look at changing the colour. And we need to start looking at some sort of colour palette as well. So if we go back to Pexels, I'm going to type in colours, I think it's this one. And we can start to look at some colour palettes as well. So, if we'll explore some trending palettes. I don't know how blue we should make this, but if we want to go with a complete blue colour palette, that one is kind of perfect. I was thinking like a blue and a yellow. But there's not many blues in that, they're all quite dark. So this is a dead, it's kind of like an off blue, it's not blue enough. This is nice. Let's type in blue here. Okay, this is not too bad. It's not perfect, but I want to keep this moving. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to click on Export Palette. And I'm going to click on Image. In fact, no, we could do an SVG. That would be ideal. So if we download that as an SVG, and what we'll do is we'll also download it as a PDF. So we've got it to save just in case we lose it. Doesn't really matter what it's called. Just plumbing colours. There we go. That'll do. Awesome. So we should have now this colour file, which you can't see, over here. Perfect. Let's got our colours on. And then we've got our SVG, which is perfect to pull into Figma. And I'm just going to do that. I don't really want to pull it on top, but I'm out of room, so just pop it there. And that's got all our colours on. Great, so we're going to start changing some colours now. So up here, I'm going to use, I can use my little colour picker dropper thing there. I'm going to use this yellow, it's very bright. Or maybe we're going to use the orangey yellow, don't know. Let's have a look. Yep, that's good. I'm going to turn off the grid for now because we're working on some colours and we just need to kind of see what is actually happening. And then I want to change this text, so I'm going to try the darkest blue just to see how it looks. You can see it's actually appeared there. So you can see the only thing with that is we don't really have too much, we don't have loads of contrast between these two colours. So I'm going to make this black. I'm going to increase the letter spacing and that's a little bit better, but maybe we could flip these around and end up with something nicer, or we could use like a really light blue like that, and that gives us quite a nice contrast there. There's nothing wrong with going slightly outside of the colours that we've got as well where we need to. So if we're using this blue, we can just pull this down and just make it even more contrast. And again, if we need to, we can feel like we can bump the size up a little bit, because this is actually really important. I'm hoping having a top bar like this could actually get us quite a lot of customers. So it's an important part of the web page, so we can bump it up a little bit. We're going to change this back to white. So we've got a nice white logo, and then we'll change these back to white as well. Or we can choose one of our kind of main colours, but for now we'll just keep them as white. These probably need to be a little bit on the bolder side as well, so let's go with our bold style, just make them a bit bold. So this is what we've got so far, and this is really just like a really iterative process of back and forth, working out what we like and what we don't like. So we're losing contrast between the text and the image, so we can do something called an image overlay to work that out a little bit and try and kind of solve that issue. So we start a new rectangle, so we just press R on the keyboard and then just start to drag out a shape. I'm going to start this rectangle and we're just going to make it fill this full kind of area of the image like this. And then when you've done that, we need to move it back. Now I use a shortcut to drag things kind of back and forth in terms of what's on top of what, but you can just use the side here, so we can just start dragging it down. You can see things are starting to appear on top of it again, and that should be everything. But for some reason our box, oh no, that's grey, that's why. So if we take this rectangle now and we give it a different colour, I'm actually just going to give it black. Yes, our box reappears, which is magic. But I'm not going to leave it as black because I want it to be more like that. So you can see there we've got like a 33% opacity. So it's putting like a black tint on top of the background, and it helps everything stand out a little bit more. So we'll leave that at 35 and just pop that in there. And there's no real hard rule for this. So let's change some of this over. I'm just going to call that, I'll try some of these colours. Don't really want to use that, that's a bit bright. Again, they're not really going to work, so I'm just going to leave them as white. Just going to pop that in as white, and then I'm going to try and use some colours for this button though. So let's change the text to white, and then for the box, we need to know what the call to action button is going to be. So it could be a yellow, could be a blue. That's quite cool. So that's the kind of the middle blue, if you like. We're using 4 different blues on this. So this is the kind of the higher of the middle one. It's like a very royal blue. Yeah, so very quickly we're starting to come up with a design here for this website, and I think we're going to end things there. and we'll work out what's going to be next on our list of things to do for this website. But yeah, obviously the background image isn't perfect. We need to choose some sort of text, a font style, to make this a little bit better as well. And yeah, we'll take it from there and see where the next video takes us. But I think we should have this section just about done by the next video, and then we'll move on to the rest of the content for the page. So that'll do it for now. Hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you got something out of it, of kind of how a web designer thinks when we're designing a website, and then eventually we'll move on to how to build this out as well. Yeah, catch you in the next one.